Investing Minute, where real estate investing is demystified 5 minutes at a time.
I'm Judson Voss.
And I'm Allison MacArthur.
Okay. And you want to talk, obviously?
Obviously, I love talking.
Okay.
You can go to the reiminute.com and check out latest news, information, and extra videos that we have on there.
That's right. Today we are going to be talking to Kevin Harden from Equity Debt, and we're going to run that video for you in just a second. But he's got a really cool basically investment instrument that you guys can use that's coming into the market today, very new, but I think it's a great time and a great opportunity to use something like this. So take a look at the interview we did with him. So guys, we got something a little bit different for you here today. We're going to be talking about something we don't know 100% about, so we're going to learn alongside you guys here, and we're going to be talking about home equity fractional interest, which short would be HEFI for that, and we're going to talk with Kevin Harden. And Kevin is from Equity Debt Solutions, and he's going to share a bunch of information with us today and sort of walk us through the process and just what this whole thing is. How are you doing, Kevin?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I guess the first thing and the easiest thing to do is sort of go through and just tell us exactly what HEFI is.
Well, HEFI it stands for Home Equity Fractional Interest. It is not about fractional ownership.
Okay.
It's about equity sharing. Equity sharing has been going on for, we've got research documents back about 30 years, about 800,000 homes, courtesy of the National Housing Institute, showing the different forms of equity sharing that has occurred. The goal of HEFI, and with its patent allowance, is to bring a uniform securitizable instrument to the market so that folks can bring HEFI into the mainstream.
Okay. I think I pretty much understand that. You're making it more than just an idea, but actually something that's buyable and sellable and that type of thing, and something trackable through some type of securities type of market, right?
Yeah, our goal is ultimately to create a secondary market. Residential home equity is over $14 trillion. You know, most people walk around thinking, well, nobody has any equity in their home. Well, it couldn't be farther from the truth. And we've got over 50% of that residential single-family market with $14 trillion in equity. And the only way to tap it today is through debt. There's got to be a better way.
Right, that makes sense. So, what is it? What's the need exactly that's being filled with this type of market?
Well, the need is today, if equity sharing prior to HEFI was done in various forms of one-off documents, leasehold agreements, various agreements that allowed a third party to invest into a fractional part of that home's equity. And it created inconsistencies. It wasn't monetizable. That is, you couldn't sell it if you were an investor that purchased that piece of equity. You couldn't turn around and resell it again because of the way it was done. And so the need that we're trying to fill is create some continuity and consistency.
That makes sense.
Now, Kevin, why is it that this program works in today's market?
Well, I think the number one reason why it works best in today's market is it wasn't written in today's market.
Okay.
It was authored back in 2003. The patents were finally combined and allowed by the U.S. Patent Office a little over a year ago, and it was just because it takes that long to go from patent pending to patent allowance. It was designed originally for homeowners to extract equity out of their home without going into debt. Well, we've all seen the last 7 years in the mortgage market. Well, back then we would have called it 7 years of HELOCs and seconds and stated income products. And, okay, so here's this HEFI idea. Well, I just go down to my bank and they'll just give me a HELOC for even more than my home's worth. Well, now, moving forward, why does it work in today's market? I just don't think we're going to see the kind of availability of debt to homeowners and potentially investors like we used to see with piggyback loans, seconds, and any kind of cash out type of scenario.
That makes sense, and that's important to reiterate again too. This is an equity instrument and not a debt instrument, which is a really big deal in a debt-starved economic environment.
Correct.
That makes sense. So from a real estate investor standpoint, that's what most of the folks that are watching here today are investors. Can you walk us through a couple of examples of where we're going to be able to use this type of instrument?
Absolutely. I think right now the most timely example today is, we'll take Phoenix, if you don't mind,
Sure.
and we have investors that are coming back in the market again. There are some opportunities, and they have, let's say, $100,000, and so what are their choices? They can go out through whatever, whether it's a short sale, and I'm assuming that they're all looking for the deal, and resales are having to compete with distress sales. So they want a deal, and they have their $100,000. So maybe they buy 2 homes and try to secure some financing with that. They've leveraged it, and they hope that their debt's not so high that they can maintain a level of cash flow. Sorry. Well, that's kind of a struggle for some. So what do they buy? One $100,000 home with cash, or say at 80 plus upgrades, and then try to sell it and flip it. The idea, again, we're the blacksmith. We're not teaching them how to wield the sword. We're building the sword, and an investor group out here really showed us what we really didn't understand of its need. And they said, look, I can take the same $100,000 with a HEFI and invest $15,000 in 6 different homes. Now, these will be primary residence purchases by homeowners. I'm now going to enjoy a split in the future appreciation of that home. So if we did $600,000 homes and the investor provided the 15% down, the homeowner provided the 5%, you get an 80 LTV loan. But that liability is the liability of the homeowner. The HEFI investor is not on the hook for the liability.
Right.
The HEFI investor gets to share in the appreciation, and he just diversified his risk on his investments.
I got you.
And the big kicker, it's eligible for 1031 exchange.
Oh wow. Okay, so we can grow that tax deferred and everything too. So it gets tapered into that. That's a nice option for that too.
And then of course the last thing to leave on that is that share in the appreciation of that home is not a coupon return on the $15,000 like a debt would be.
Right.
You'd have to charge a 10 to 12% interest rate, where if you were splitting the appreciation, and let's say the home only, as homes out here in Arizona and across the country typically, no more than about 3 to 5% a year, even with all the booms and busts. Well, if you're splitting 3% a year on a $100,000 home, you're a far cry better ROI than you're getting on a 10% interest rate on a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're getting a much better return on that one. So let me ask you this, and I went through the materials and I sort of understood it. We were just talking before about the liability and convert that to risk. So in a market that folks probably understand a little better, in essence, a HEFI is sort of like a call option in a security market, correct?
Correct. It is exactly that. It's a call option on a TIC or tenant in common interest in that property.
Okay. So normally with the call option, I would call it due. So I guess the question here is, when would I want to convert from this instrument to the TIC?
You're going to move to TIC interest in an event of default by the homeowner, not on the mortgage.
Whoops, looks like our 10 minutes of fame's up.
So if you want to see the rest of the video and you can't watch on Google and all those other places, make sure you go to the reiminute.com and watch the video there. You get to see more and more of our pretty smiley faces.
That's right. Don't miss out.